I'm Aloysius. I'm the owner of Haunted Harbor Tours. Welcome, and today I think we have something really good. The Vampire Nuns of New Orleans. The Coffin Girls. Now here's the thing. This urban legend is just that. It's an urban legend. It's got a strong basis in history, but little else. And it's actually a story born from my industry. And as a result, it's pretty awesome, right? It's a bunch of paranormal investigators in the 1970s who looked at a moment of history and blew it way out of proportion. And it's one of the darn coolest stories out of New Orleans. And it's a shame it's been beaten up and run through the mud as much as it has. And I'm here to kind of give it some more life and say, no, this one's cool, despite the fact that it's been debunked, despite the fact that it's been kind of kicked around and tossed around and beaten up. This is one of the ones that's cool. So stick around, buckle up, and we're going to dive right into some of the maddest, craziest vampire lore you will ever hear. But first, I have something I need to say. Something very important, and it comes from the coldest, blackest depths of my heart. Thank you. If you are watching this right now, sincerely, thank you. I have gotten a lot of support in the first month I have owned this channel. I've had people sharing my videos all over Facebook. I've gotten an unreasonable amount of views, and I've got subscribers and subscribers. I'm getting so excited that I might reach 1,000 subscriber milestone, in the next few months. I currently am sitting at 69 subscribers. And so basically, to all of you, everybody who's watched one of my videos, everybody who will watch one of my videos, thank you. And that really is from the bottom of my heart. The fact that some of you guys have found me while scrolling through looking at thumbnails and said, yeah, I'll watch this. I'll give this guy some of my time, and stuck around all the way to the end. You have no idea how much that means to me. And I really am grateful. All right, let's get into it. New Orleans is founded in 1717. New France has a massive amount of land. And New Orleans is the newest of all the cities. Most of the people who traveled to this new city, what was to become a new city, were men. Adventurers, really. Trappers, traders, people who wanted to build something for themselves. And not a whole lot of women. In fact, 27 of the people who initially went to New Orleans were women. And in 1719, the men were, they were getting lonely. And so the people that were in charge, priests and mayors and, all the people who were of importance, began reaching out to all of the French cities with ports anywhere. And they said, send us women. Send us women. This colony will not survive if we can't make it past the first generation. And those port cities obliged, grabbing all the women out of prisons, all the brothels, just sending as many women as possible. They were sending the wrong kind of women, They were sending criminals, they were selling prostitutes, they were sending all of these kind of debaucherous women. So not only do they have a woman crisis in early New Orleans, but now the women they do have are opening up brothels and taking the money of the traders and the trappers and the adventurers, and everybody's just delving into this New Orleans debauchery that the city would become famous for, And the priests now are just screaming. They're writing letters in all caps saying, no, send us moral women. Nobody's getting married. Like, this is not a moral city we're creating here. Please send us moral women. And King Louis XV says, oh, yeah, you want women? You want moral women? I'll send you moral women. I'll send you all the moral women you want. And he sends a convent full of nuns. But they sent the wrong women. Again, they sent the wrong women. And they sent the wrong women this time because these women are married to, angry Sky Daddy. The nuns arrive in 1727, right? And in 1728, they find the perfect middle ground. They've already sent criminals and prostitutes, and now they've sent, nuns. And so what they decide to do is they send orphans. Just all of the young female orphans. But this time they sort of have a plan. They have a good idea with this one. These orphans are given the opportunity to come to New Orleans. You see, they're not forced. They're not grabbed out of the brothels. They're not opening a convent. Instead, this time they're offered an opportunity of things that an orphan has always wanted. What they're offered is this: a guarantee of marriage, a casket or chest containing 2 dresses, 2 petticoats, 6 hats and scarves, bows, perfumes, and toiletries. Everything an orphan has ever dreamed of. A family and nice things. They also reach out to the military, the enlisted men, and say, hey, we're sending all of these women to New Orleans. Who wants to be released from service and go? Hot local singles, all you have to do is move to New Orleans. And in exchange, you will be given land, cattle, incentives, massive incentives for all of these young people. Either young orphan women or enlisted military men. And it's a huge success. A lot of people go. And unfortunately, some of the women don't marry off. And these women that are kind of ignored or tossed aside are given to the nuns, and the nuns don't know what to do with them. So they say, hey, go out and see what the other women are doing in this area. Go try to find some work. And these women end up, these orphans end up with the prostitutes. All right, so now we jump forward all the way to 1970. New wave of spiritualism, right? People who are wanting to try to prove some of the mythological things that are happening in real life. What has become the ghost hunter, the paranormal investigator. All of these people who are looking into the moments in history and trying to say, well, where are the vampires? Where are the ghosts? Where are all these things? And these are really educated people, and, they're delving into the history books. And I'll tell you, man, as somebody who researches history, looking for the macabre, looking for the bizarre, looking for the great charlatans and the mysteries, you get excited when you hit on something. And that's absolutely what happened to these young guys in the 1970s, right? They're researching, they're looking into New Orleans history, and they keep on seeing mentions of these women who are coming to New Orleans carrying caskets and arriving at a church, the Ursuline Nun Convent. And that's bizarre. They don't realize at the time that these caskets are filled with hats and toiletries and all of these pleasantries. They're just seeing random women arriving in New Orleans, and they all happen to be carrying coffins. And so the most logical conclusion that you can make is literally, that they're carrying vampires. I mean, hell, a ship with coffins is exactly how the vampire arrives in Salem's Lot. It's not an unreasonable conclusion. And so there becomes this belief among ghost hunters who don't yet have, they don't have Wikipedia, they can't Google this and look it up, but there becomes this idea among these ghost hunters that, this Ursuline convent, this very noble and, altruistic group of nuns may be secretly hiding vampires in their upper levels. And it doesn't help the fact that their windows are all shuttered in the upper areas where the coffins of these girls are believed to be hidden away. And I mean, look at New Orleans, with all of its voodoo and all of its, myths and legends. And these guys are sitting there, they're looking at this institutionalized church with all of the church's secrets that really hadn't been uncovered yet. I mean, we know a lot of the horrors of the Catholic Church in the modern day, things that, well, I mean, I'm named Aloysius. That's a name you don't Google. And they start to think, there are vampires up there. There are vampires up there. And I mean, you're smoking a J, you're a 1970s hippie, you're walking down the street and you're saying, man, I guarantee you those nuns are actually just a bunch of vampires. And so a bunch of ghost hunters decide to stake out outside of the Ursuline convent, right? The Ursuline Academy now. And they're sitting there and they're watching this building all night long. They got a video camera with them and they're just sitting there. They're smoking their cigarettes, smoking their pot probably, and, just watching this thing, with equipment. And all of a sudden there's this terrible sound. There's a shadow that moves across the window. And their car begins to rattle. The video cuts off. Now, the next morning, these investigators are found with their throats torn open. In fact, it says that it looks as though their necks have been bitten open and they're drained of their blood. And the vampire myth persisted for a great deal of time until, obviously the modern onset of the blog. I mean, it was a staple of New Orleans ghost tours. The vampires of New Orleans brought by these wicked, evil nuns for nefarious purposes. France emptied their city of their vampires and sent them over to this new budding place. And that's how you get Lestat. That's how you get all of these great vampire myths. However, it's myth and myth alone. It's an urban legend. In fact, those bodies that were found of the investigators who were sitting out of the church, no mention of them. Can't find them in newspapers. There's not even a Wikipedia page. That would definitely have its own Wikipedia page. So look, at this point you're probably wondering, well, Aloysius, are there vampire nuns in New Orleans? Long answer, no. Short answer, yes. Look, we know that the Casket girls were real. They weren't coffins. They weren't. They were caskets used for travel, human-sized boxes with lids and hinges that you would use to travel. Can we guarantee that every single one of those caskets was absent a vampire? No. To prove a universal negative is impossible. You would have to go back in time and check every single one of those caskets. We can't 100% know there wasn't a vampire in any of them. It's logical that there wasn't, but we can't prove it. Were the infant mortality rates increasing in the 1970s in New Orleans? Not that I can find in the newspapers. That's one of the cases that most ghost tour companies in New Orleans point to. That suddenly infants are dying at a more rapid level and that they're drained of blood. In fact, in the 1970s, at any point in New Orleans, I can't find a dramatic increase of people drained of their blood. There are vampires in New Orleans. And I'm willing to bet there are vampires dressed as nuns. Maybe tonight in New Orleans. I mean, they're not in the Ursuline Academy, not in the Ursuline Convent, and odds are they didn't arrive on a ship. But if you go down to New Orleans and you find a fetish club, I mean, there is guaranteed to be somebody walking around dressed like a vampire nun at that fetish club. And they're going to do some interesting stuff. Probably drink your blood, man. Anyway, guys, I'm Aloysius. I am the owner of Haunted Harbor Tours. I want to thank you so much. You made it to the end. You are somebody special. You are somebody incredible. I'm so thankful for every single one of you. I have a lot of really cool content. Coming up, I'm doing the life of Francesco Goya. his descent into madness, an artist, an incredible artist who went from the highs of the Renaissance down into the depths of complete and total insanity. And I've got a lot of really cool content. All of October, it's just going to be a series of cryptos. And I've got a lot of cool stuff planned all winter long. So please, please, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, comment. Once I have 1,000 subscribers, I'm going to do a really cool video. I'm going to do a video on skepticism and on cynicism in the industry, and I'm going to discuss how do we as ghost storytellers escape from this prison of skepticism that really holds back the stories. And we're gonna delve into that on the day that I hit 1,000 subscribers. And so thank you all so much for joining. I can't wait for next week. Hopefully it will be the Goya video, but who really knows? Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Creepy, Weepy, and Cutya are taking a week off right now because you guys have really, really gone above and beyond with the subscription. So thank you all so much. Have a great week. I'll see you again on Monday.